Okay, maybe we can start now. So again, welcome everyone. In today's webinar, we want to talk about R in a few aspects from several perspectives, all connected to how we can apply this programming language to serve market research the best way. Since we have launched Nebu Data Hub, our R cloud-based application 4 years ago, we have helped several clients already embark on this journey of adopting R. And with all that knowledge, all that experience and know-how, we want to maybe support you now on that way. We want to share all of those experiences with you. R is a programming language that becomes a standard at universities. Many people even replace it with replace SPSS with R and other statistical tools. It helps not only to process data, but also create real-time, attractive, interactive visualizations, co-creates reports, auto-creates reports, and is used to automate processes. We will talk about all of those aspects, and yeah, before we reach that, and tell about all of those important considerations, I want to mention that if anyone wants to learn more about Nebu Data Hub, you can find information, in-depth information on our website. And to give you a small preview of how many different aspects of working with R there are, I'd like to start by telling our own stories. So we are here, three of us, Kshana, Zoltan, and myself, and we have different roles at Nebu. We work in different way with R. All of us, we work with R, but in a completely different scope. And that already might give you a little bit of insight into how rich that topic is. Kshana, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself and tell us what was your first touch point with R? How do you find that programming language?
Yes, of course. So, hello everyone. My name is John Edkölcsei. I'm a sales engineer here at Nebu. And the first encounter I had with R was when I started my traineeship here. And since that day, I'm basically working every day with R. I'm creating scripts every day. This is my job, basically.
Zoltan, would you say what is your role in creating that R magic at Nebu?
Of course, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Zoltan Suvey. I'm the director and research and development at Nebu. So hence the connection between me and Nebu Data Hub. So I am responsible for the development at Nebu. This is the wider sense of development. This is not only just about purely developing and putting code to your developer environment, but also the surrounding environment and surrounding processes. So that gives quite a lot understanding better the needs of the clients. And I'm also often in contact with clients during the sales process or in the technical talks. So this is my connection with our team.
Yeah, thank you. And when it comes to my role, I'm responsible for marketing, and it means that, for example, I'm building all of our fun demo environments to present what our tools are capable of. And I also must say that that I feel I'm in a very privileged position because I'm representing that, I would say maybe even end client perspective when we compare my role with maybe how you could see what I'm doing in your organization, because I have Kshana to help me create all of the R magic that I will show you in a second. Zoltan is there to help create a very efficient environment for us, so we both can, you know, just do our job the best way we can. I would say that Kshana represents the perspective of a programmer or scripter at your company, and yeah, what Zoltan does is would be maybe something like a perspective of a head of IT, of head of operations, to know how to create the right foundations for all that magic. And when I say all that magic, let me show you maybe one of my favorite R widgets. So for a few years already, we are building upon this one consistent demo because we love coffee. It's just for that reason a coffee demo in one flow. We want to capture a lot of what Nebu Data Suite can offer you. And what you see here, this is a R widget created in Nebu Data Hub. It's called Sunburst. And yeah, I love this particular example because within just one widget, one visualization, I give an answer. I create sharp insights answering a project, answering the main question that I have in one of my coffee demo projects. So I want to test the current state of awareness, brand awareness of this DE Douwe Egberts Dutch coffee brand. And I do my research, I conduct field work in 8 European markets. And what you can see here is the sunburst. In the first circle, you see all of the answers that has been given in my questionnaire by people who know Douwe Egberts as the DE coffee brand. In the second circle, we have the vision between everyone who has ever tried that coffee or only heard of it. And if I drill down into details, then I can see my countries. So 8 countries where I conduct the field work. And the last circle is a social class. This is a custom calculated, created variable that is unifying between 8 countries different parameters that we ask for in the questionnaire, like income or education level, occupation levels, and there is a lot of background processes that with the magic of R can be just captured in one simple widget, and within just a few clicks of a button, I know everything I need to know. Another aspect, it's also the same coffee brand project. Another dashboard. It's by the way a Nebu Reporter dashboard. Some of you may have heard of Nebu Reporter. So basically, in real time, we can transform the collected data into insights. It's updated. This one every 60 minutes, but it can be real time. And to show you flexibility of using R script, in the previous widget we saw the end result, but you can also apply the code to, for example, give you a little bit more insight about the project progress. And for example, here we have a very nice interactive widget also created in Nebu Data Hub, shared with Nebu Reporter, where we can see what is happening, for example, with a social class between different countries. How many completes do we have? And right away we know what needs to be done. And just yet another widget. These are quota sales per brand awareness and social class. So we also know where we are within the project. So this is the end magic, and that's what I do. And basically what we want to share today is we want to show you how you can get to the point where you just very freely create those end results. If anyone wants to learn more about Coffee Demo, if you go to our library, those 2 webinars are very interesting. I hope you will find time to watch. And yeah, finally, coming to the core, R. Why did we choose to work with R? Can you share a little bit of insight about the language itself? A brief introduction. Shanat.
Yes, of course. So, as you may already know, R is a programming language. It's made for statistical computing primarily, and is becoming very popular because of various factors. So the first of which is that it's free and open source, so accessible to everyone. There's a very large and supportive community. So if you are stuck with something or need a solution, it's very likely that you will find some help. There are lots of packages created by other users, satisfying basically all the common needs, offering solutions for the most common problems. And it's very convenient that R handles both data processing and visualizations. So You don't need separate tools for like every steps of your process. And was an advantage that it's very high level, so relatively easy to learn and understand the code that you're creating.
Yeah, that's a very nice also for me. Like I'm not able to code by myself, but I do follow the logic of the scripts that you create for me, and that helps really a lot with understanding what's happening. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And yeah, so I know that most of people that start working with R, especially outside of our industry, they work with R locally on their workstation with R Studio. Yet I've noticed that in our industry, we see more and more organizations, especially the bigger ones or the ones that want to like increase their work efficiency, that they are moving towards cloud-based tool solution, like for example, Nebu Data Hub, or they create their own intranet. And Zoltan, would you be able to tell us why is that important and how to find, you know, the right foundation for our attendees so they know which approach is the best for their organization?
Of course. Yeah, first of all, it won't be really a sales pitch because I think we can say that there are cases when it is nothing really bad with just working on your own computer and you don't need cloud. It really depends on the needs, and I mainly categorize it how it is easy to decide where to place your solution based on where you are getting your inputs from, where you are putting your outputs, and of course how you would like to arrange in the middle. Maybe it sounded like a little bit cryptic, but if I translate it to, for example, a person who is working alone in his workstation to process, that still can be a viable solution in cases, especially if the output that this person generates doesn't really need to be shared on an online platform. So if the output is a PowerPoint presentation or just a prepared Excel file, yeah, there are cases that it's perfectly fine. Still, I would like to mention here one risk factor because you know, if it's all happening in a workstation in a not so organized manner, then that person can be a risk. As we call it a bus factor, which sounds to be funny, but sad at the same time. So if there is a project where there is a person who is when hit by a bus, and then the project can be in a huge risk, then this is something to look after. So
Yeah.
if you are working on a way that you know that it's really critical to your client, then it's really considerable how you are arranging your processes and how you are arranging your inputs and outputs.
Yeah, exactly, because it's a metaphorical bus, but it can be malfunction of the workstation of the PC, or it can be vacation or just illness, and then right away
Exactly.
organization doesn't have access and cannot carry on.
Exactly, and then the project can be in danger, or the reputation of the company, because you would like to deliver something, but you are not really able to, because you are not really able to access that person, or you cannot really help out and such.
Yeah.
So this can introduce some risk. Of course, it is really dependent on the company. If those are just exploratory processes, not really deliverabilities to the clients, then of course it can be a very well viable option. Still, in this case, I would say there are good practices that worth following, like organizing your code to some kind of version control system, where you can go back to your latest well-known good state of the code. So even if you are in the heavy changing of your code, you maybe ruin some kind of functionalities which was working yesterday, and no, you are not in a good shape. Then maybe you missed something or overlooking something, and it is still a good idea to be able to go back to a previous version and start over again and fix the problems in your own code. But there are also good opportunities there to just simply organize your previously created codes into some kind of solution libraries that you can reuse in later projects.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a bit of the coding part, and of course here and there we can add some variables. So how you get your inputs, what is your input source? Do you get files? If you are still getting files from systems exported, you need to digest those. Then in, well, I don't want to say that we were all there, but we can say that everyone has a friend who was in a file hell at a certain moment. So when someone was working on a certain input on an Excel file, for example, and then it turned out that it was not the latest because in a later mail sending a new one arrived, or it was placed on an FTP and such. So then more and more you'll be looking after some kind of structured way of getting your inputs. If it's not only the one person who is working on these files responsible for these inputs, then pretty soon you will find yourself in a problem that these files has to be organized somewhere, or these inputs has to be organized somewhere, and you also need to do some kind of sharing on these, because you will be not the only person who will work on this. I'm not talking just about files, but these inputs can be either APIs where the data can be pulled. But if we are going to this API direction, then we are already talking about that you are not really working just on your purely own workstation, as you start using services outside the world. And if you see that, okay, where would you solve the version control? Maybe you would use a Git solution. So then you are already putting your code to a cloud version control system. You are thinking about where to store your inputs. And if your organization have its own infrastructure because of the size of it, or because of historical reasons, or because of the processes of the company, you might already have your own servers, which can be a great opportunity for the next step of organizing files within your company, organizing your inputs, organizing your codes and access levels, because then you can solve a lot of things by good processes. And then what you still need to solve is the deliverables. So how you will deliver your outputs to the clients, and basically what are the expectations about these outputs. There is a demand to produce PowerPoints with charts, or PDF documents, or something else. And when you find yourself in the world, and pretty much the world is, of course, already going there big time, you will find yourself in a world where there is a demand for online dashboards and reports. And then it will be quite a big discussion. Do you want to solve it in-house? Do you want to solve it with your own people in a cloud environment? Then how to choose that cloud platform? What do you want to buy there? Just a web service, virtual machines, or something more complex system? Who will maintain and manage the system? And then you will have a really tough conversation within the company where the future of your company lies, and how do you see yourself in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I think these are very good points to evaluate how many people need to work on a collaborative manner on the source, on the inputs, how you want to deliver the outputs. And this can help for you to position yourself, which is the best solution for you. Because I don't want to say that one solution is good for all and the other one is definitely bad. All solutions have its own advantages and disadvantages, but at a certain moment you will realize that when you are able to do the next step, you pretty soon will benefit from it. So the sooner you can make the next step in these step ups, you will get a few things or that maybe now it is a problem, but it is not really a pain point or not recognized as a problem, but you can get rid of it.
Yeah. So to summarize, and please correct me if I'm wrong at any point, right? But how I understand what you said, that that for a person working locally with R, working locally with R on your workstation, it's an option for a smaller company where there is, for example, a single R scripter or maybe two, but they don't really have to share anything. And then there are maybe lower costs, right? It's easy to start because you can download your environment. You can right away start working with R. But then the moment you start to work with R in a team, you want to share data. You want to make sure that everyone at the same time have access to the most current version of your data set. So maybe they can even work in parallel. Then it's an already good step to choose to work with this maybe organization-wide intranet. But then again, also something to consider if you have resources to actually start building upon your intranet, to add services, to maintain them, to keep the processes set in place. And if that's possible, that's a solution for you. And for a bigger teams or maybe smaller organization, but the ones who want to go into increasing work efficiency, maybe going deeper into the automation of processes, then maybe having a R-based cloud solution is an option, because you don't have to take all that heaviness of creating and maintaining your infrastructure.
That's correct summary.
Okay. Okay, let's move to another consideration. So yeah, keeping data accurate, clean, structured, this is a key aspect in our industry. I mean, your clients' business decisions are based on the data you deliver. And sometimes processes that researchers deal with are straightforward. It's to collect, clean, pretty much deliver. But it happens that there are multiple processes involved, maybe secondary data as well. And yeah, how to handle those bigger projects, more complicated situations, how to secure data quality using R and properly created, set up R-based environment, how it can help us with that. Zoltan, can you share a little bit of light on those aspects?
Yeah, there are so many considerations, but we try to pick the three most important, but this list just could go on and on.
Yeah. By the way, we are working on a white paper, so soon we will deliver a little bit even more in-depth information with more examples in a written form.
Yeah, indeed, that will contain a bit more aspects of security and data quality. But if we really need to pick only three, then I would say centralized data storage, as I mentioned also in the previous consideration. It is a very critical thing to solve in an early stage. So you don't want to run around with all kind of false inputs, because then all your data processing activities will start from a very bad angle. And of course, also the end result will be not the desired one. So that's why I think one of the key points here is to have your data centralized, and doesn't really matter how the data is structured, but when you have the same data in multiple different versions and you need to cherry pick from those which is the greatest, latest, best looking or most valid one, then this can be lead to all kind of errors and assumptions.
Of
So
course.
this is a crucial problem to solve in an early stage. Even if you are just working on your own computer, you really need to know based on what input the expected output has to be created. Of course, there are different levels of this centralized data storage. The closer you can get to a real-time data or more accurate data, and the more you can solve the problem of collaboration. Of course, maybe you are just now a small company and a one-person company, but maybe this will be not the case in 3 years or 2 years. And when a team needs to work on the data, then you can either be more efficient processing this data or can block each other somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
The next consideration is how you can recreate or reproduce your results. So it's maybe an underestimated thing, but someone gets a task that okay, you need to produce some kind of result from this input, and then this is the expected output. Might be there are some loosey conditions in the process of what data to consider to be a valid data or to be a data to consider in the result.
Yeah, like for the speeder, how do you define the speeder maybe?
Speeder is a
Right?
good,
How
good
many?
example, because if I think that, yeah, usually we mark people who are finishing the questionnaire within 30 seconds is a speeder question with 100 questions, and if someone still can finish it in twice as much time, so in 60 seconds, it still can be considered as a speeder. So then if you are using a 30 seconds threshold and your other colleague is using a 60 seconds threshold just to cut out the speeders, and maybe someone will have a different consideration and will say that, well, it's much more should be something like 2 minutes threshold. Then based on these decisions, you can have quite a different set of data that you will use as a starting point. But this is just one tiny aspect here, but it can highly influence the end result and how missing data is completed, how the records are cleaned out. Of course, these are all things that if you once or twice or many times get into troubles with having some kind of misalignments, how this data is processed. With processes, you can make some borders or fences around it, and you can prevent a few things. But I think what the best works here, and here comes the connection with R, is that when you are strictly guiding one person through the process with the code, that okay, these are the considerations, these are the conditions, how we are cleaning data, how we are merging data, when we are dropping records away, then you can be sure that if there is a certain input, and if that certain input is processed by person E, will be resulted in exactly the same output than if it is processed by person B.
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
say R is the solution for everything and such, but if you can get rid of some kind of processes, well, it's maybe a strange thing for myself who loves processes, but it is for guiding certain quality. But here you can solve the quality a bit easier way, and then having a code digesting this data, you can really have the repeatability of your process. It will be, doesn't really matter if it is created by one person or in the other within the company, because you can be sure that exactly the same way is used and the same result can be produced.
It can be a something beneficiary for example, several people working, but it could be also that you get more confidence in running multiple projects that are of similar nature, because you have created that process and you're super sure that it's working properly, and then it's easier to scale up because you can also repeat it, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to reinvent the wheel. So, but once when you have cool established processes for certain, for example, data cleaning activities or fixing dates in tables, or how to approach of speeders, if we use this example, then you certainly want to reuse this code.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That repeatability will be not just have the meaning of doing repeatability within one project, but across your projects, and that will give you some kind of quick start for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is integrations and physical security of data. Maybe it's a bit again an area that can be overlooked easily. Of course, if someone is really taking care of GDPR, and I hope we all, but also there are other considerations like what is clearly phrased in ISO 27001. You need to take care of your physical data security. But what does it really mean? You are working with certain data. This data represents value for the client, and also represent value for yourself. You don't want to lose this data because of failing hard drives, because of not being able to access this data, and such. You would like to do the proper backups of this data. So these are all things which in disastrous cases can put you back in your processes, because if you cannot really access the data that has been delivered by the client because it was placed on a share or on a drive that the meanwhile damaged, then the first thing that you should turn to is your backups. And if there are no backups, then you can be in a very difficult situation. And next to this, also, if you can somehow avoid putting data from one system to the other via files or shares, but you can have some kind of tighter integration, I think that really can increase the efficiency there.
Yeah. So, for example, if Nebu Data Hub user is using a Nebu interviewer, the data is in real time shared with the hub. So every new incoming record is right away visible on the Nebu Data Hub side, and it can be enrolled into all sorts of workflows created there, which results also in, for example, real-time dashboards. Yeah.
And you don't need to export, import data just to be able to analyze.
Yeah. Okay. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, having a centralized storage can secure the quality data, as everyone and multiple people can and have access to the same input anytime. Can be used to multiple processes that even going in parallel, which might be important. It's much easier to share, reuse, and improve code when everyone have access to one repository. It can be improved and improved over time, and still it's always up to date. So no one is a little behind in terms of how many seconds is a speeder defined as. Of course, it helps with scaling up the amount of projects even conducted by the company. and a clear, I would say, clear benefit, just increasing work efficiency and streamlining workflow. So less mistakes, more processes conducted by computers, and people can focus on what they're best with, improving and creating new projects.
Exactly.
Okay, another big advantage of having an R cloud based workflow is automating process. It's still a big challenge in the industry based on conversation with customers or prospects. I can say that still not everyone knows how to tackle that task, how to automate processes. Not all companies have technical staff on board to support them. Can we shed some light on how R and a properly set up environment can support us with automating processes? Maybe Kshanat, you work with those processes, those scripts for us every day. Maybe you can pick it up.
Yes. So I'd like to discuss this automation part in maybe and include the two most important steps. First of which we've already touched upon a little bit, but in order to be able to perform automations, you will need a generic solution. By this, I mean that if you want to do a test, then it's a pretty good chance that you will need to perform the same test in the near future again. Market research, for example, processing data, cleaning out invalid records from the survey results. It really happens a lot that you have to do this. And you have two choices. First of which is that you create a specific solution for every time you have to do this, which only works in that particular case. It may be maybe a little. It may need a little less effort to do this, but in the long term, I don't think it's worth it. You rather have to move in the direction of creating general solutions that can be reapplied for the current problem again and again, and reapplied also to similar problems. So you don't waste your time on doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, so for example, you're being delivered data from a client, and then you clean it, you do all those steps, you remove your test interviews and maybe fill in some missing data. And then, for example, after an hour, after a day, they update that data without telling you that it's going to be that way. And then you have to do that process again and again, if that happens again. Huh?
Yes, exactly. And you would you would only like to work once on the script and reuse it multiple times. Yeah, and maybe this was the bigger step. If we want to increase efficiency a little more, we can take the next one as well, which is all about scheduling. So basically, repetitive tasks have to be repeated at some point in the future. And it really makes a huge difference whether you always have to manually do everything over and over again, or you can just go ahead and make a script do it for you, because why would you do it manually every time if you are doing everything exactly the same way? Why would you spend your time over and over for stuff that can be easily automated and executed by a script? Also, we should consider that if we have, for example, a report that we want to send out every day at 2 a.m., then it's very likely that we don't want to wake up that time.
No.
But if we have a process do it, then yeah, it's no problem at all. There's a pretty big chance that we don't even have to look at it ever again. It will work by itself. Yep, and of course, the result of automation is that we always have the latest data to work on, always have the latest results to show. And with the power of R, we can really have any kind of output. Everything is basically possible.
Could we see some examples maybe
of
of those? Yeah.
Let's see some examples. I will have to take over the screen.
Oh, yes, of course. Stop share.
Okay. So yeah, what are these output formats exactly that we are talking about? So in the most basic case, you have maybe a question which you have results for, and you want to show the distribution of these results. What do? You create a basic visualization, some kind of chart, and the result of this will be in most of the cases a single image that maybe you can reuse later by inserting it into web pages or dashboards. So yeah.
And even in case of a picture, so this is a static waffle picture. These are answers given to a question about how likely you will drink a particular coffee brand. But even in case of pictures, if you have automation, then if there is a new complete coming up, the picture will update itself, right?
Yes, of course, there's a huge difference between a pretty picture and a picture that is actually showing a recent result.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can reuse this picture, as I said, web pages and things like that, but you can also insert it into PowerPoint presentations and maybe use it to compare data, compare the results of multiple questions.
And that presentation has been created with R itself, right? It's
yes.
not something that you created manually.
But what's interesting is that it can be edited without R. So I can create it and, for example, give it to Małgorzata, and she can see that maybe these labels are.
Oh yeah, to improve the look and feel. Yeah.
And she can go ahead and improve the look and feel of it.
Yeah. And it's, for example, the same project, the same question, and different outputs that are being generated in the same code even. Because maybe I want to be delivered a presentation, and a research executive wants to be delivered every Monday morning an updated picture for a report.
Yes, that's right. HTML is also a very preferred format because it can handle interactions, like in this case, where you have two charts, and they each represent coffee drinking habits. These are also part of the coffee demo. And you can go ahead and select the ones that you want to compare with each other. And by hovering your mouse over the sections of the chart, you can see the exact results and make comparisons this way. Yes. Many people still like to see PDFs, and yeah, here's an example for that as well. These are all entirely generated by every part of this document. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all created in R.
Yes. Okay. I think I'll give you back the screen.
Thank you. And share screen. Okay. So just to summarize, and correct me if I'm wrong, scripts can be reproduced as many times as you want without having any limitations on, for example, how many people are available to work right now, right? It's not bound to resources. You can easily, with just a few people, handle maybe 50 projects or 100 projects. You get more flexibility, accuracy, and consistency in your work. Also, yeah, possible to keep the work going on if you're on vacation or if you get ill due to all the scheduling. And yeah, and I think from my perspective, this is what I personally like a lot, that yeah, I'm always sure that whatever I'm presenting in our demo environment is up to date. And I know that I can share insights with the right people at the right time and in the right format, in the best way. Maybe a dashboard, maybe a Nebo Reporter dashboard, maybe an email. The sky is the limit.
Yes, everything's correct.
Okay, so knowing all we know about setting this secure our environment, efficient, secure environment and workflow, maybe, yeah, good moment to talk about the real R magic, the data processing and visualizing with R. I wonder, yeah, could you also tell us, Kshanat, a little bit about how difficult it is to get to know R? Can you start working with it almost right away when you start playing around? And yeah, how does it all work? Maybe some more examples, maybe something that we have in production already created by you in Nebo Data Hub and also available to our customers, a few of those scripts. If you could help us a little here.
I have to share my screen once again and let's see some more examples.
Of course.
Okay. What you see might be a little confusing at first, but if we just go ahead and zoom a little bit, this chart basically summarizes this brand awareness survey that we were talking about in the beginning, showing whether people would try again these brands after they have tried them already.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we divided them by the answers they gave, and you can see the results for each of these brands.
Yeah. Well, because I was the one creating the logic in that question, I can also just briefly mention that my goal here was to actually figure out which brands, which other coffee brands are answered as by people who have tried our Egbert, which other brands they are very likely to drink again, because as a marketing person, I want to look into what those brands are doing, so maybe I can win them over to our brand. So even though it's just like a very high level overview, within just one blink of an eye, I right away know where to look at, and that helps me a lot.
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's see something else. All right, we can go ahead and take a different perspective and take a look at how data changes over time. So, like in our case, from the first year to the second, how many people would like to try again the certain brands that are included in the survey.
Yeah,
and,
good trend.
You can see the names of the brands, the values grouped by the observed years, and also the progress indicated with the green and the red bar, depending on whether it was an increase or a decrease in popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, here you can see another example. Um, the interesting part is that the background is generated by an R script also. Is the map of Europe, and the countries are colored with exactly the same color as their corresponding boxes showing the survey data.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's see another map, but a different one. It's actually a zoomable interactive map provided by OpenStreetMap, and we can put any kind of visualization on top of it. Like in our case, we were curious where the survey results came from, and by clicking on the dots, we can see this exact data.
Yeah. Yeah, that also helps a lot with quality assurance, because if the fieldwork is conducted in 8 countries and we see completes coming from a country that we clearly do not conduct fieldwork at, it's an indication to look into, look for fraudulent data in the project. Yeah, and looks very attractive.
Yeah, and last but not least, let's revisit Abu Reporter and another dashboard, which is not about coffee anymore, but showing some data about pizza restaurants in Amsterdam. Also, there's a table summarizing basically the whole survey uh, and the ratings each restaurant got for each category. The pretty good ones are highlighted with green, the very bad ones are highlighted with red.
Yeah, and that's a live project. So basically, what is happening in behind is that every month a group of people is going to a pizza place. Sometimes it's the same one, sometimes it's a new one. There are also new restaurants being added to the questionnaire. So yeah, the beauty of having one suite of tools, having a NebuDAB interviewer connected with the Hub and Nebu Reporter, is that we have it set up once, and every time there is a new restaurant, the table just changes. And if there is a new rating given for the same place, for example, for Soto, the moment it happens, the numbers are being updated.
Yes, that's right. And let's see the last example. So after conducting this survey, we can make further, we can visualize further results. For example, we can compare these ratings within the first 2 best restaurants. So there we can see that the very best ones, how do they compare to each other?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to go for pizza in Amsterdam, of course you don't want to check all 20 or 30 places. You will take a look at first 2, 3 best ones that are always being refreshed and always calculated. And then based on what is important for you, maybe the seating, maybe the surrounding, maybe the cheesiness of the pizza or crispiness of the crust, you can right away know where to go. So yeah, just a funny example, but yeah, one of my favorite dashboards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the presentation.
Thank you, Xana. Yeah. And share. Okay. There is something for every expectation. Clearly, R allows you to go beyond the standard data delivery. You can custom pretty much anything. Yeah, automation of delivery. So maybe creating a Nebu Reporter dashboard, maybe using different types of publication. We have clients that use OData protocol to share data with Tableau, and then having their online dashboards in Tableau. Of course, if you also need to create a SPSS file or Excel file. That's all possible. And yeah, what I want to mention for Nebu Data Hub users, that the cloud environment you're getting, it's not an empty system, but what it comes along with is a sort of a quick start to R. So after those 4 years of working with R and replying to the needs of our customers, we have now more than 130 ready to use scripts with really well prepared explanations of how to achieve particular results. So pretty much everything that you saw today, and there is so much more, it's relatively easy, achievable pretty fast. And yeah, as we mentioned, it's a huge topic. We clearly didn't touch upon everything. We will work on creating a white paper to give you more examples. But what do we want to leave you with a few main takeaways from today's webinar. Why is it worth to use R in our industry? For quality assurance and to ensure speed, accuracy, and efficiency of your work. It's worth because you have a really big and active community. So if it happens that you need something more extraordinary, you can easily find experts that will build it for you, write the code. There are more than 16,000 packages to cover most of your needs already without any hassle to be used. And in case you want to write code by yourself, there is amazing community on Stack Overflow. Whenever you're writing an R code and you stumble upon any challenges, 99% of the time it has been described in the chat between users on the Stack Overflow. So you can really just start right away and be successful. How to apply R to market research? Well, you can, of course, use it for processing your data, all the cleaning, the duplicating, anything you need. For computing, even the most cutting edge statistics procedures are available in R. Right away, the data can be translated into interactive visualizations. You can automate your processes, and you can easily also use R for machine learning and creating algorithms, artificial intelligence. What are the areas that R will help your organization with? You can easily repeat tasks, scale up. You can keep consistency and increase efficiency of the work. Which factors to consider to set up a secure, efficient, and effective workflow? Again, it all comes to that first slide, to setting up the right foundation for your work. You want to be sure that you will not have to reinvent the wheel after a year or two. So maybe take a moment, sit down with your team and think where you see your organization in 2 years, so you know which approach to take right now.